Yes, indeed. Welcome into another episode of Rip N Riff here on the Rip N Riff YouTube channel, the first of 2025. That over there is at Mr. Jared Moore. I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. Jared, we could still say Happy New Year today because it's the first Monday after New Year's. When is our cutoff for? It's today, right? This is the last day.
No, it's January 1st or 2nd. Like I don't know why we're doing that this on January 6th. Like enough of that.
I think like just because like people were out of the office or school, today is the last day for that. Don't want to hear it tomorrow. But Happy New Year. That's it. You're not going to hear it.
I think if someone said Happy New Year to me, you were legally allowed to super kick them.
I believe there's a little known clause. Yes, you are allowed in most states. Not you check your local laws. It may not be all 50 states, but yes, that is.
I don't think it's allowed in Arkansas, but
just like the sports gambling, it's like state by state. You got to look up your local rules and regulations. And also, I see you got a nice little Devils hat there. Hasn't been the best road trip through California for the Devils, has it?
See, I like how you frame this. You set it up before the show because I know you went to the Sharks Devils game on Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, Saturday afternoon. It was a matinee game.
On Saturday, I'm sure you had a good time. It looked like you had pretty decent seats there, and road trips not going according to plan. It's one of those things where when your entire top couple of units aren't really going, your margin of error for winning hockey games is significantly smaller, and they haven't played as well defensively the last few games as they were like prior to the Christmas break. And it's one of those things where it's just like everything's just off just a little bit, but it's an 82 game regular season. Teams are going to have ebbs and flows like this. They should be fine. They'll just they got Seattle tonight. Hopefully they beat up on the Kraken, and then they finish up this road trip with the Rangers. So we'll see how that goes.
Regardless of the result, it was an entertaining game at the Shark Tank on Saturday. Quite the giveaway. I wish I had brought it upstairs. It's like a beach bag with a built-in cooler. It was fantastic. Just a real good Saturday all around. And the food I got at the arena was delicious too. So it was a perfect Saturday for hockey.
By the way, I've been meaning to ask this because I just thought about this. So you're not in New York, so you're not familiar with it, or you might have heard about it. But MSG and Optimum are going through a carrier dispute right now, so I can't even watch the games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, wow. So that's a whole thing. So I saw a lot of complaining on social media on Saturday about the officiating. What would your commentary be on the officiating when it comes to against Devils? Because it seems like that's been a recurring theme now the last few games.
So our friend Bob Stewart, I sent him a text during the game that I wanted to propose a deal for Yaroslav Askarov in our hockey keeper league, and in the course of that conversation, he was like, sometimes when you're at the game, you can't see everything. And there was at one point where like there was a clearing attempt on the CC goal that the ref got in the way of like a puck, and that happens, but it happened a lot in the game. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like, oh, bad luck. That happens once in like, it was at least 3 or 4 times where it's like, you're an NHL ref. You got to get the hell out of the way, So I'm not complaining. It was still a fun game, and I had a good time. So,
yep.
All right, now we'll talk a little hockey. We'll do some hockey packs later. But this is a heavy football show. Let's get to the pack ripping lineup for today. We're going to be doing both of us are going to be bringing some football to the table and the figure 5. Also, football today. I've picked up some Topps Bowman Chrome U over the weekend or over the last week. All of them kind of rookies in a way. These are guys that we're going to be talking about in the upcoming NFL draft. These are, guys in dynasty leagues that Jared and I will definitely start paying attention to soon. And, I brought back the Upper Deck Series 1. I'm going to be honest, I got a lot of these packs, so we're going to churn through them here and there. And why not? We love hockey this time of the year. What do you got, Jared?
I got a couple things. First of all, I love the shortcut you took there. Rookies, all of them, kind of. Yeah, so I very much like that. Second of all, a belated congratulations to you on winning the Mad Dog Dynasty League for the first time out of how many consecutive trips was it to the finals for? Was it for you for 7?
That was 7. So first out of 7, yes.
So 7th time was the charm for our boy Adam here to finally get over the hump and join the Winners Club. So I plan on making that trip to the Winners Club very short-lived because I plan on bouncing back next season and reclaiming my throne. But for now, I congratulate you, my friend.
Well, thank you. It does, eat your heart out. Like after like the third time in a row you lose, and then it's four, and then you just get numb to it after a while. And then you beat me the last 2 years, and then this year, like bring up our friend Bob Stewart again. When we met in the semis, we kind of agreed like, hey, this is probably really the championship, and it was because no knock to Bill Baloney's team, who has done I don't know whose team it was before him that he had to take over and rebuild, but the fact that he got it all to the top spot and all the way to the championships, just kudos for rebuilding that team. But
right. That was the Falco Mikey Fitz team that Falco famously crashed into the ground, and then Mike did what he could for a couple of years before he decided to move on to greener pastures.
Nick Falco, I remember one day, and this is when I was on my honeymoon, so the time difference was drastically different. And I just wake up one morning and I see Dalvin Cook was dropped, and this is when Dalvin Cook was Dalvin Cook, and I'm like, okay. And I had the pen, I picked him up. I'm like, this is stupid. And then it turns out it was an accident, and they ended up owing me a draft pick as a result to get him back. It was like a whole big deal. But yeah, that was
that.
Yeah. I'm like,
oh boy, to be young and naive in fantasy leagues.
There you go. Now we're talking football. Jared's got some 92 Fleer football. We'll get to that in a little bit. But first, let's talk some NFL wild card weekend. That's what we're here to do. Besides Rip Packs, talk football, talk hockey. And I think this is overall a pretty good NFL wild card weekend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I think NFC has much stronger matchups than the AFC, but nonetheless, I think this is wild card weekend. We're supposed to get one or two games where it's like you're standing there and watching the TV and you can't move, like, because it's just like you're supposed to get at least one or two of those, and I think we will. Why don't we go chronological order here? Because the NFL decided to go all three AFC and then all three NFC, which I actually kind of like that. I don't mind it either way, but the way the schedule worked out, you got the Chargers and the Texans opening up things on Saturday at 4:30 Eastern there. You see the Chargers 3-point road favorites, total 42.5. I think the common consensus in this game is that the Texans kind of limped into the playoffs. They haven't really looked good in a long time, whereas the Chargers have a strong defense and have played some good football down the stretch here. I mean, I don't see a reason to really pick Houston in any situation there unless you think they're going to keep it close and you take them with the points.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That is the annual AFC South time slot for Wild Card Weekend, that 4:30 Saturday slot. You knew the Texans were going to wind up there, and whoever they wind up playing, and of course it'd be against a nondescript franchise like the Chargers. And I'm not taking anything away from what the Chargers did yesterday against the Raiders. They did whatever they had to do in that game, but I do expect the Chargers to win that game. I would probably take them to cover the 2.5 points, and then we'll see what happens. I mean, they'd be the 5 seed, so depending how the rest of it plays out, maybe you get Chargers, Chiefs wild card in the divisional round, which would be a nice, intriguing AFC West matchup.
Listen, the Chiefs this year, and we can talk about the Chiefs before the divisional round next week. Let's see what their opponent is. But if they get the Chargers, there's a couple of, you could call them cliche or whatever, but they're true. It's tough to beat a team 3 times in a season in the division opponent. That's what the Chiefs would have to be doing. Number 2, look at all the Charger Chiefs games over the last few seasons. They're almost always close. They almost always go late into the fourth quarter. Chiefs always, they pull their magic out of their hat like they always do. Eventually, that has to go the other way. Eventually, the Chargers are going to nip them. Maybe this is the year. The Chiefs, they're a very good football team. I'm not taking away anything from a 15-2 team. Let's say 15-1. Yesterday's Broncos game, they had like the C squad out there. I'm not taking anything, but they've been in a lot of close games, and eventually that pendulum has to go the other way. And the Chargers are the kind of team I could see maybe nipping them.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs have pulled a lot of wins out of their derriere this year. So even if only, I mean, how many wins have they literally pulled out on the last play or the last drive? 4 or 5 this season alone, between the Isaiah Likely play week 1 and the blocked field goal and some of the other stuff they've managed to pull out. That goes against you once in the playoffs, you're out. You're just done. And I'll still take the Chiefs to win. To me, they're the best team until proven otherwise. But yeah, when you live on the edge like that, it's eventually your luck's going to run out.
One more thing about the Chiefs before we go into the next AFC matchup on Saturday night. At some point, you look at that, they're going to be off for 3.5 weeks, because they pretty much wrapped everything up in that game against Pittsburgh. I know rest is important for a football team, like, but there is a rust factor. Is like the Chargers betting them on the first quarter, the first half, maybe a way to go or do you think the Chiefs, like they're old, reliable, they've been through this before, they know how to play with rest, they know how to deal with an extended absence. I mean, you can go both ways there. I think that would be a close game no matter what.
Yeah, I'd want to see what the numbers look like before I commit to doing anything divisional weekend, but that certainly sounds like a particular play that you could do that if you were so inclined.
All right. So now, speaking of divisional matchups in the wild card round, we have a old AFC North, rematch again here. Steelers Ravens back in Baltimore. Steelers, I think, become the first team in NFL history to go into the playoffs lose on a 4-game losing streak leading into the playoffs. Oh, just to go back to Chargers Texans, you made that AFC South joke. Literally, the Texans have never played in a wild card game that wasn't the 4:30 Eastern game on a Saturday. Every wild card game they've had in their history has been that opening slot on Saturday.
Yeah, they do that for TV, and the team that's going to have the smallest draw out of these 12 teams is the one that's only 22 years old as a franchise, is going to be the Houston Texans. So, but that's just the AFC South in general. It's a bunch of nondescript teams like the Titans and the Jaguars, who fired Doug Peterson today, and the Colts, who for some reason are keeping everybody together, which for reasons I don't understand. But that's another topic for another day.
We'll do a rip and rant on them one day. All right. So Steelers Ravens Saturday night, kind of similar to the first vibe. Is there any? You got the Steelers there. That's the point is going up. It's 9.5. I wouldn't be surprised to see me go to 10. A lot of people disrespecting the Steelers. Totals 44, but kind of a similar vibe to the previous game where it's like the way Baltimore's playing and the way Pittsburgh's playing. Maybe you take the Steelers with the points. Maybe they keep it close. Maybe that's a game that goes under because those two teams always play, old school smack you in the mouth football. But I think the Ravens ultimately prevail in this game.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch the spread here. Just the Steelers to me are a dead team walking, and they are the epitome of a team that's stuck. They're in the mushy middle. They're not good enough to contend for a Super Bowl championship, but they're not bad enough to bottom out. And with a coach like Mike Tomlin, they're going to win their 9 or 10 games every year. And that's exactly what they did this year in the early part of the season when they ran up all those wins during the weaker part of their schedule. And then once things got hard and they played, actually good AFC teams, and Philadelphia as well. Once they started playing the better teams on the schedule, done. They were done. They lost everything. So I think they are going to be in a very they're going to be one and done. I don't know that I trust them with the points. I think if I were going to bet on this, I'd probably go Ravens money line and look to parlay that with another game.
I probably would go under 44 in this game just because those two teams have like 19-13 like written all over them. Like that's the type of games they play. And if the Steelers are going to have any chance, they're going to have to try and limit the Ravens offense. There's no way they're going to be able to keep up in a shootout, especially the way George Pickens is dropping balls. So
George Pickens is unplayable right now. And I get he's really talented. And that's the other thing that's really underrated about the Steelers is just they're a wide receiver factory in the sense that they're a wide receiver factory of morons.
Yeah.
And I hate using that term because it makes the players sound like dumb. But between guys like and Antonio Brown and now guys like George Pickens and some of the guys they've had there over the years, Juju Smith-Schuster,
Deontay Johnson, we find out about him after the fact. Maybe it makes sense why it didn't work out in Pittsburgh with his attitude.
Martavis Bryant and some of these other guys that they've had. It's just. It's incredible that the Steelers managed to keep it together as long as they have, considering how the wide receivers seem to be undermining a lot of the operation there. And I guess it's a real credit to Mike Tomlin as a coach.
Yeah, like you said, they're in that mushy middle. Now, the last of the AFC games, which leads off on Sunday, is Broncos-Bills. Also, Bills about 9-point favorites right now, total 47 there. That's going to be the Sunday 1 o'clock Eastern game. Buffalo has that look of a team on a mission. I almost wish them and Baltimore could meet in the conference championship, but if and when they meet in the divisional round, that's going to be epic. That's going to be a fantastic must-see football. But first up is they need to get by the Broncos, which the way I'm reading this game is I think the Broncos keep it close in the first half, and then Buffalo slowly starts to pull away, and they end up with like a maybe like a 10-point margin, 14-point margin, but the game was closer than the final result kind of thing. That's where I'm seeing this.
Yeah, I see the Bills pulling away in the second half as well. I think that's one of those ones where Bo Nix had a really nice rookie season. He's not Josh Allen. And I think asking Bo Nix to go toe-to-toe with Josh Allen in this type of game, I get Denver's used to playing in the elements as well, and but
Strong defense.
But it's Buffalo, and it's this is these are the type of games that I feel like Josh Allen's made for, and he's certainly played well in these type of games before. I don't know what the weather looks like for that Sunday game, but it's Buffalo. It's going to be windy. It's going to be cold. Hopefully, there'll be a lot of snow because that would be make for a very aesthetically pleasing television product. So, anyways, I expect the Bills to win. I wouldn't lay the 9.5 points. I think it's too much, but I could see the Bills win by double digits.
I might even, because of that second half pull away, I might consider the Bills to cover, but that's probably a stay away from me. But I still think, it's the Bills' time to at least get to the divisional round, and then we'll see what happens there. Now, the next game, let's slip over to the NFC. Kick things off with the Packers and the Eagles Sunday, 4:30 Eastern time there. For that game, 45.5 total. Eagles opened at 3.5-point favorites, already up to 5.5. So that tells you what everybody thinks about Jordan Love and the fact that Christian Watson is not going to be playing in that game, not after the way he looked going off the field yesterday. I think the Packers look very much like a playoff team, but they're a playoff team and they're running into an Eagles team that's, I think that's too good. I think it's too much of a mismatch there. I think if that number keeps going up, I may eventually be swayed to take the Packers to cover, but I don't see the Eagles losing this game.
The Packers are one of those teams. They're kind of like the Steelers and kind of like the Dolphins last couple of years. They beat all the bad teams and they lose to all the great teams. And I think Philly is on another tier from the Packers. Like I think in the NFC, your clear top tier is Detroit, Minnesota, Philadelphia. Put it in whatever order you want to put it in. And then on that next tier, I think is like Green Bay and Tampa Bay and
Washington
and those type of teams, the LA Rams and all that sort of stuff. So as long as it is under 7, I think I would take the Eagles.
Okay.
Yeah, 6.5. I think I would lay the points because I think Philly wins the game convincingly. My only concern with Philly, you're talking about rust with the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, you're going to be dealing with a lot of rust with the Eagles as well because Jalen Hurts has been in a concussion protocol the last few weeks. He will be back for this game, so there is that. But the Eagles didn't play anybody yesterday against the Giants. That was basically their bye week. And obviously Jalen Hurts missed the week before, basically a week and a half before, because he got hurt in that week 16 game. So we'll see how that ultimately plays out. But I like the Philadelphia Eagles to win that game convincingly.
All right, so far we pretty much agree on who we think's going to win, but these are the two games that, and pretty much the consensus is going with what we're saying, but these are the two games that maybe we'll have a little bit of a difference of opinion here. Sunday Night Football, we got Jaden Daniels and the Commanders heading down to the NFC South champion Baker Mayfield Buccaneers. Bucks -3 right now, total of 51. I know the Commanders have had a good season, and Jaden Daniels, feel good story. Dan Quinn doing a hell of a job there in Washington. But Tampa just has like this thing about them where they can just beat anybody. And, I know they didn't look great against the Cowboys, but the Cowboys defense was playing better and was much healthier at that point. I think I like Tampa to cover here. I think this is going to be the best game of the weekend. This is the one I'm looking forward to watching the most. Should be very entertaining. I could see this being a really high scoring affair, hence the total 51. I might still consider going over that. But yeah, I think the Buccaneers will probably cover here, and I think advance.
I didn't realize this was a week 1 matchup. Do you remember how that game went?
It was a week 1 matchup. That it was a 37-20 victory for the Buccaneers. It's also week 1, so I don't know how much you could take away from that. I mean, I know the Eagles and Packers played in week 1, but that was also in Brazil on a crappy field, so that you definitely can't take anything out of that. But
right, I don't take a ton from it, but I just do find it interesting. I didn't think the Bucks played all that well yesterday, but they still managed to do enough at the end to pull that game out against the Saints. I think the Bucks win this game. I think they're just the better roster overall from 1 to 53. And, it's an interesting spot. You got Jaden Daniels, first playoff game. Baker Mayfield's been there before and done that before. And, the Buccaneers won a playoff game last year. They beat Philadelphia before they went to Detroit in the second round and lost. So I think Tampa is I think Tampa's one of those quiet, dangerous teams in the NFC.
Yes.
I don't think they're a legit contender, but I do think they are a team that
can beat you any given week.
Right. And like that's a team that beat Detroit. That's a team that's beaten Philadelphia. So they can beat the elite teams in the league. So that if I were Detroit and Philadelphia, I'd be rooting for the Commanders to win this game. Put it that way. So I think Tampa does win this game, though.
And here's the thing. You look at their 7 losses. Okay, they got swept by the Falcons. But, hey, in the division, sometimes teams just have your number. We'll chalk it up to that. The Week 3 loss against the Broncos now, in hindsight, is, not to say a bad loss. At the time, you thought it was a bad loss. But now you look at the Broncos. They're on par with Tampa. They lose to the Ravens. They lose to the Chiefs, which they probably should have won that game. And then we talked about the Cowboy loss. So none of their losses are quote-unquote bad losses. You want to say the 49ers won maybe? Fine. But I think they're up to the task. And I think next year is a year where I think the Commanders maybe make that push and become a dangerous team. But this year I think it's Tampa. Then lastly, Monday Night Football, Vikings at Rams. Vikings are 1.5 favorites on the road, total 47. Sean McVay decided to not really go with his starters, didn't really care about the positioning. I don't know if he's going to regret that decision, because he would have been playing Green Bay. He would have been playing Washington instead. But I lean Vikings here. I know they didn't look great on Sunday Night Football last night against the Lions, but the Lions did get Alex Anzalone back, and that whole defense is different when Anzalone's in there. So I'm leaning Vikings here, but this is probably an enjoy but stay away game.
I think I'm going to live on the wild side and take the Rams in this game. This is another matchup from the regular season, and the Rams won that game. And the big reason why they won that game against the Vikings is the Vikings just had no answers for the Rams offense. Matthew Stafford just absolutely carved them up in that game. Puka Nacua had a huge game. Cooper Kupp had a big game. Kyron Williams had a big game. Like the Rams stars balled out in that game. I do think, generally speaking, the Vikings defense is better than that, but you do have to show your work and you do have to show it. And I still don't 100% trust Sam Darnold. In a quarterback matchup with him and Matthew Stafford, I would give the edge to Stafford. Obviously watching that game last night against the Lions didn't really give me any more enthusiasm towards picking the Vikings. Now, the Vikings could very well win the game. They're obviously a very talented football team, but if they play better defensively, and I don't see why they wouldn't be able to hang around in this game and potentially win it. But I'm going to take the upset here with the LA Rams.
This is the point I'll make about that Vikings loss to the Rams. It was on a short week, Thursday Night Football. They're also coming off that Lions game, the first Lions game, the 31-29 loss in Week 7. That's a lot to ask a defense in a week, is to deal with the Detroit Lions on Sunday, then fly to L.A. and deal with a Rams team that can, frankly, run the ball down your throat repeatedly, and they have the passing game to kind of go along with it. Like you said, they carved them up. So, I think we'll see a little bit of a different, this week. But that, to me, is probably the closest coin flip game of the weekend. Like, you could go either way, and you're not wrong.
Now instead of a 3-day turnaround, it's 7 days because they have the Monday night game, which not a fan of, by the way, of the Monday night divisional playoff game, wild card playoff game. Not a fan of that. Like I get why they do it for TV, but I wish they wouldn't.
The simple solution is you take that you do a 3-game Saturday, 3-game Sunday. You move the Saturday slate up, and then you give ABC and ESPN that's night slot to accommodate for it. But I don't mind it. I'm okay with it. It gives NFL football. It's the last Monday of the year where there's NFL football, extends the weekend a little bit longer. I'm all right with it. Now, we've talked plenty of playoff football here. What do you say we get to some pack ripping here? What do you say?
Sure, let's go. And I think since we're on football, I may as well go Fleer 92. And maybe I will pull that Mark Schlereth card, and we can get our buddy Scott Messina to get Stink to sign it. That'd be pretty cool.
There we go. All right, so a little 92 Fleer football, and then I'll go some Bowman Chrome.
And we'll go pretty quickly with these because I can already tell looking through it, I don't recognize a lot of the players. But we will go, plenty of LA Rams here to start the pack. Darrell Henley at cornerback. I don't know why I'm struggling right now with this dopey little stand. Cleveland Gary, running back. Raina Thompson, Giants cornerback. Love the classic Giants look. And by the way, the Giants today announcing that Brian Dable and Joe Shane will be back for another season. So get excited for another 6-11-ish type of season, Giants fans.
A competitive 6-11, Barrett.
Oh my God. I mean, like I don't even know what I want with the Giants at this point. I think at this point now they're picking third. It's like, just give me Travis Hunter. That's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's some people that want Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. I agree, though. I mean, if next year's draft class is supposed to be a quarterback class, supposed to be as good as it is, if Hunter's there, take him.
Yep. A couple Washington Redskins here, Ricky Sanders and the Hall of Famer Art Monk.
Well, that's cool because you got two of the big three receivers from that era. All you're missing is Gary Clark, and those were the three. That was the trio receivers that dominated in the '80s for Washington.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. We have Ken Harvey from the might have been the Phoenix Cardinals back then.
Correct.
Tim Crumry from the Cincinnati Bengals. I like this photo because it took me a while to see that he actually did have a second arm. I thought for a second he was missing an arm there.
I mean, that'd be pretty, I know JPP did it missing a few fingers, but if you had an NFL career without an arm, that's impressive.
Sean Landetta, Giants punter here. Certainly punting the football away. Love the
I would say he's the official punter of Rip N Riff.
He is the official punter. We could probably get Sean Landetta on. I'm sure he's, probably got some time to just come on and talk about whatever.
Punting.
Yeah, we could call the segment just for kicks.
Wow. That is... Let's just end the show right now. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later.
All right, peace out. Rodney Hampton, the first Giants jersey I ever owned. So there's that. Pretty good running back in his day.
So my first football jersey was a Rick Myers Seahawks jersey.
It's such a random jersey.
My sister went out to one of the outlets in Long Island, and like they had two football jerseys left. She got one for me and one for my dad. Then they were Rick Myers Seahawks and Jim Everett Saints.
When I finally, what year was this? This must have been like 2003 or so. So I must be like 20 years old at this point. I finally get a little bit of disposable income because I'm actually making decent money at the job I was working at the time. I was like, I just want to buy a bunch of NFL jerseys. So like I go out and like, who are the big NFL players at the time? So it's like I got like LaDainian Tomlinson, Peyton Manning, Michael Vick, and somebody else, and somebody on the Giants at the time. I don't even remember who it was. It might have been Eli. I can't say with certainty, but yeah, that was certainly a lot of fun. And then having the Michael Vick jersey, and then 3 years later he gets into the whole dogfighting thing. So really wise investment choice there on my part.
I also have a LaDainian Tomlinson jersey in the closet, the baby blue one.
Yep, I have the same one. So there you go. Rodney Holman, tight end for the Cincinnati Bengals there.
If I'm Buffalo, I'm glad the Bengals didn't get into the playoffs because that would have been the one first-round opponent. If I was Buffalo, I'd be worried about Joe Burrow coming in with a chip on the shoulder and no expectations as a 7 seed.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of teams in the AFC breathing easier now that Joe Burrow and the Bengals aren't going to make the playoffs. Now I don't know. Maybe the committee says that the Bengals should make the playoffs because they played a tougher SEC schedule. So we shall see.
AFC North certainly tougher than the AFC South. Maybe they should get the Texan spot.
All I know is somehow this is going to result in Boise State getting a bye. James Francis is the Bengals linebacker here. I'm not even talking about the players. I barely care about the players.
No, the players are
billion cards in this pack. Johnny Johnson, running back for the Cardinals. A lot of this is a Cardinals, Giants, Redskins heavy and Bengals heavy pack, which is very interesting. John Elliott, probably better known as Jumbo. So very cool to get a Jumbo Elliott card there.
That's a cool pose. That's a good shot of him too.
That is a good one. Let's see. Maurice Carthon with the Giants.
Nice, good fullback.
Kevin Turner, prospects card here.
Can't remember. Don't remember much about him.
Jim Everett. We won't make those jokes with Jim Everett. This has been played to death here.
Still love I love that Rams look though.
Yep. William the Refrigerator Perry.
Shout out Bill Zimmerman.
Yeah. Let's see. Ron Hall with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the old Bucko Bruce uniforms.
They won't wear them this weekend, but it would be cool if they did.
Robert Del Pino, running back with the Rams.
Damn, a lot of Rams in this pack too.
I mean, there's a billion cards in this pack. I think this pack was like 30-something cards. 32 cards.
All right. Well, no Mark.
Well, you got your money's worth because this was $1.99 back in 1992. So 32 cards for $2. I'd say you certainly got your money's worth.
Absolutely.
Tim Jordan with the Cardinals, also a very Cardinals heavy pack. Pat Swilling, a league leaders card here. It looks like he is about to, I don't know, sack or I don't know. It looks like I can't tell who that is on the Eagles who's like falling into him, but he's just sort of like looking down at him like, get off me.
He was part of the Dome Patrol. That was a good group of Saints. That was a good Saints defense back in the day.
Saron Stacy, prospects card. Let's see. Another prospects card here with Steve Gordon.
A lot of prospects in this. None that are great, but a lot of prospect cards.
A lot of prospect cards. Mike Tomchek, Packers quarterback.
Good old Mike Tomczak there. He bounced around for a bit. He once called into the Dino Costa show on the hotline somehow.
I'm not adding anything to that. Scott Steven, Packers linebacker. Let's see. Charles McCray, offensive tackle for the Bucks. Floyd Turner with the Saints. Matt Brock with the Packers. That's a big boy right there. Freddie Joe Nunn with the Cardinals.
It's a great name.
Let's see. Roan Stark, the Colts punter. The Colts actually had punters before Pat McAfee was one. Johnny Holland, Packers linebacker. And last but not least, this is one of the cards that was promoted on the pack to collect Mark Rippon performance highlights. And this is one of them, a Mark Rippon performance highlight. And it tells you on the back what he did. So I'll show the front of the card first. Probably the nicest card in the pack there, just because it's a little bit of a glossy finish. And then you go to the back and it tells you how he was Mr. Everything and how he, let's see, I don't know, left his native Canada to play baseball at Seattle University, blah, 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 blah. So Mark Rippon, performance highlight card. I can see why these cards flew right off the shelves back in the day.
Oh, yeah. This is actually the second time we pulled a Mark Rippon on this show. I pulled a Mark Rippon highlight card when I did a pack of 92 or whatever that was. I will say I do like the look of the cards for the time. It's basic logo in the corner. It's a good look. It was done well for the time. So there we go. That's 90 Fleer football. We'll continue the good times with football here, and we'll do some Bowman U Chrome. I lost my Rangers placeholder, so that there is a Todd Bowles card from last week.
It's probably a good thing you lost it, seeing as the team still stinks.
2-game winning streak, Jared. It's turning around, baby.
2-game winning streak.
Well, they beat the Bruins and the Blackhawks, right?
Yeah, but you lost on Saturday to the Capitals.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The losses all blend together at this point. Yeah, I'm not giving up on the season yet with the Rangers, but it's circling the drain. It's real close. Some people are like, oh, they'll get, maybe they get JT Miller. I'm like, yeah, great, whatever. Like the season.
Oh, that worked out well the first time the Rangers had JT Miller. So go for it.
Yeah, the team is toast. We'll see. Maybe they can sneak a wild card if they go on a run, but I doubt it. So we got some Bowman U here, 2024. These are guys that are all going to be picked up in the 2025 NFL draft year. We got Silas Bowden, Texas wide receiver. Good looking cards.
What's great about all these cards is I'm just going to say future Giant. So Silas Bowden, welcome to the Giants, man. Hopefully you're a much better third receiver than Jalen Hyatt.
Well, before you talk about the Giants here, you guys need a quarterback, right? So how about Mr. Byron Brown from the University of South Florida?
I'd like to aim a little higher than Byron Brown.
All right. So how about Kadon Salter from Liberty University?
I actually watched some of that Bahamas Bowl because that was on Saturday while I was producing Live Bet Saturday. So, they did not win that game. I don't know if Salter played in that game or not. I don't really care, but I'm not particularly impressed by Liberty football.
All right. Well, we'll go back to the receivers here. Shout
out to Malik Willis, who's playing well for the Packers in a backup role.
He is playing well, and he might get himself another chance at a starting gig the way he's been playing. And there's C.J. Daniels. Shout out Mike Riker for LSU. Pack one, not off to a good start.
Well, they can't all be winners.
No, but I got two more to go here, so hopefully one of these guys will be a winner. And then we'll I've got a hobby box of these, so we'll rip more of these in the future as we get closer to the draft. Okay, let's see here. We've got Jerwan Newton, Toledo wide receiver. Can't say I know anything about Toledo's wide receiving corps.
I don't, but I know the Giants could use another receiver. So welcome to the Big Apple, my friend.
Everybody's going to the Giants. Everybody. If you guys need a defensive end, how about Texas Trey Moore?
Sure, why not? You could always use more pass rushers.
Now we've got Jaquez Moore from Duke. You need a running back. If Tyrone Tracy ain't cutting it, maybe he's the guy.
Tyrone Tracy's got a little bit of the whole Tiki Barber fumbleitis. So you certainly want to have other options at running back. Options that are better than Devin Singletary.
Now we're going to close pack number 2 here with a numbered parallel, a green parallel 78 of 99. Too bad it's Amari Daniels from Texas A&M, who I've been starting to do mock draft simulations because why not? It's fun to do. It's a good way to kill time. I don't recall his name coming up too much, but hey, numbered parallel might be worth something. Hang on to that. You never know with these running backs. Sometimes they find life, and then all of a sudden it's worth something, you know? All right, let's see here. Last of these Bowman U packs. Maybe we'll do one more just because the pack, these 3 have not been great. Let's see. We got Georgia Tech wide receiver Eric Singleton Jr. Let's see here. We've got Jalen Buckley, Western Michigan running back. Not a numbered parallel, but a pink parallel here of Texas State running back Ishmael Mahdi. Nice looking card, but not much there. And last but not least out of this pack, we're going to go. This is a guy who's going to be a top 10 pick somewhere in the draft. Michigan cornerback Will Johnson. He is definitely going to go somewhere in the top 10, 12.
Yeah, he's a stud. I would say future Giant, but they're probably going to take Travis Hunter third, and Travis Hunter's a better player. So, but Will Johnson is certainly no slouch by any comparison. So, look, I will say this after going through 3 packs of these. Bowman is ripping you off by doing 4 cards per pack and charging however much they're charging per pack. But I'll just get that out of the way right now.
Yeah, I am not happy. I got a hobby box. It was like 25-30, I think, for the hobby box. We're gonna do one more pack and try and break the streak here of garbage.
Yeah,
Will Johnson in the numbered parallel ain't cutting it. Maybe we still got 3 more after this one, so maybe that's where all the good cards are.
I'm glad these guys are getting their NIL money. But that said, maybe not everybody should get NIL money.
Yeah. Let's see here. We've got Donovan Smith, Houston quarterback. So there you go. There's another quarterback for the Giants, perhaps.
Maybe on day 3.
All right. Let's see here. I got another quarterback here about Fresno State's Mikey Keene. Yeah. And then we got this pack's there. We're gonna move on from this Bowman U shit in a minute. We've got a pink parallel here, Jaden Mayava from USC. So maybe that turns into something at some point. I doubt it, but you never know.
And it's certainly a nice looking card. Didn't he transfer out of USC? That's the other problem with a lot of these guys with the college football is with the transfer portal. Like if they're not playing right away, they just go into the portal and go somewhere else where they get a better opportunity to get on the field. And I don't blame the players for doing what's best for them, but it just makes it all the tougher for dumb casual fans like me to follow.
Yeah, it's exactly and then like half the time these guys they're not playing in the bowl game or they're already in the transfer portal. It's a mess. College football's gotten out of control in that regard. And the last card of the last pack we're going to do today, this will be a mid-round pick at running back, Mr. Devin Neal there. Sharp looking Kansas uniforms.
Those are sharp looking Kansas uniforms, but they're not nearly as sharp as the Giants home blue uniforms. So there you go.
It should be an easy transition if they take them. Apparently everybody's going to the Giants. So there we go.
I don't know how the Giants are pulling this off. They only have like 7 draft picks, but they'll find a way.
They get it done. They'll defer the draft pick somehow.
Oh yeah, and if I trust any team to draft well, given their lengthy recent history, it's certainly New York Giants. How's Evan Neal doing, and Jalen Hyatt, and some of the other stiffs they've taken?
Yeah, it's not been a good recent draft history for the Giants there. Now I've got 2 packs of Upper Deck Series 1 here. I'm gonna only open one of them, but you get to pick. Instead of doing left right and getting confused, are you gonna pick the hand, the wrist I broke, or the wrist I didn't break?
I'm gonna pick the wrist that you didn't break.
Okay, there we go. Left hand. Maybe we'll get some better luck out of this pack here. Come on. All right, let's get that down there. Thanks for holding it down, Mr. Todd Bowles. All right, first card out of the pack, former New York Ranger, now Hurricane, Jesper Fast.
Jesper Fast is a really good bottom of the lineup player. It's unfortunate that he's out for the entire year this year with I think a torn ACL or knee injury or something, but he is a really good role player, and
yes.
Certainly someone that when you're going to go deep in the playoffs, you want guys like Jesper Fast in your lineup. So that was a guy I wanted the Devils to go get a couple of years ago when he was a free agent, and they didn't get him. So yeah, pretty overall pretty solid player. No, not spectacular, but certainly the type of guys that you need.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. I mean, yes, he's a 3rd, 4th liner, but like you said, those are guys who need to win. And he's been bringing the same game for years. Those are guys that last in the league 15 years because they do that and they do it well. Let's see here. We got another Hurricane, Mr. Brent Burns there, former San Jose Shark.
Yeah, Brent Burns getting a little longer in the tooth now. He's pushing 40 years old. So I feel like the Hurricanes probably need to go add a defenseman at the deadline. Between that and the fact that Gostisbehere is injured right now, they're playing Ty Smith regularly in their lineup, and that's not a recipe for success. So I feel like they could probably use one more defenseman to round out their core.
They're definitely going to need to add something come deadline time to keep up with everybody in the East, but I still think they're going to be a very tough out there. I just took a sneak peek at the pack. This will definitely be better than the Bowman U. So a little tease there. We got Samuel Montembeault from the Montreal Canadiens. Shout out Christopher Merez. Montembeault playing pretty well for them this year.
Yeah, he's doing pretty solidly. Montreal's one of those weird teams. I feel like they think they're closer to contending than they actually are. I'm very curious to see how they approach the deadline and how they approach this upcoming offseason. And I'm also curious to see if the Montreal media is going to carry water for the team and somehow turn Jake Evans into the prize of the trade deadline, like they did a couple years ago with Ben Sherrod. Because your buddy Chris there had a comment Jake Evans will fetch a future first rounder, and I had said offhand I will eat my hat if that happens. So and I stand by that. So I really have my doubts that Jake Evans is going to command a first round pick. Solid player, he's certainly more than capable 3rd line center, but I just don't see it.
Well, I mean, if you do have to eat your hat, I hope you have a good dipping sauce ready to go, because that'll make it more palatable. Maybe a good barbecue or honey mustard, but you can make that decision. We got a Cole Sillinger card here with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Always love those Blue Jacket 3rd jerseys with the cannon on them. We're going to breeze through a couple of these here to get to the meat of the pack. Matthew Poitras from the Boston Bruins. We got Chris Letang, one of the big 3 in Pittsburgh there, along with Crosby and Malkin have been there forever. Looking pretty good there. Let's see here. We got Nicholas Roy with the Vegas Golden Knights. And then here we got Dustin Wolf with the Calgary Flames. Shout out Gilroy, California native there. Maybe he'll play for the Sharks one day at the end, come back home. But looking pretty good for Calgary there. It looks like they have their goalie of the future.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they were comfortable trading Jacob Markstrom. They wanted to turn the net over to Dustin Wolf. So certainly off to a good start there.
Now we've got we're going to close strong here. We do have a Young Guns. It's this is not the Young Guns necessarily we want, but they're always a good one. We've got Pierrick Dubé, quite the name. Now this one is a cool card. Going to be a little sad for a second here, but this is part of the A-Line series for the Blue Jackets there, and you see Johnny Gaudreau, Adam Fantilli, and Kirill Marchenko. Really cool card there. That one's going to have to go in a top loader.
Yeah, obviously it's kind of sad and somber anytime you pull Gaudreau, considering what happened with him. But let's talk about the positive with the Blue Jackets. Like Kirill Marchenko looks like an absolute stud right now, and he's been really good. Fantilli's having a solid. I think this is his second season.
Yes.
So the building blocks are there for Columbus. They're not going to be a doormat forever in the Metro.
And I know they're kind of like playing well. They're kind of hanging on the periphery of the wild card picture. I know it'd be a great story. I don't see it happening this year, but maybe next year they can, get a little bit closer to that. 2 guards to go here before we get to the pulls of the day and the starting lineup figure 5. And you're going to love my last card. You're going to want to trade for it. But first up, we got a Sidney Crosby Gaming XP insert there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really have anything to add to that. I don't really like those XP cards because it reminds me of like when you play like NHL or Madden or whatever, and like they deal with the cards in the game and whatnot. And so that's the type of thing I've never really gotten involved with.
That part of the like the NHL video games, I didn't really like. That would kind of like turn me away too. Now we close strong here. We had some real crap in the Bowman U packs, but how about Mr. Jack Hughes in the AIM Bots series?
Ooh, that's a nice card. Yeah, we could certainly arrange a trade ski, I think. But
I had that earmarked for you.
Very nice card there.
Jack Hughes looked, played a tough game, when I got to watch him in San Jose. It's just the Devils are a fun team to watch this year too. I know they're a good team. I know they're one of the best. They're one of the favorites to come out of the East, but they're also a fun team to watch.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably a piece or two away from like seriously contending, because like the top 6 is there. Like they're missing a couple pieces in the bottom 6. I think the thing that I'm seeing most with the Devils right now is they really need a third center because Eric Hall is just not cutting it right now, and they've really gotten no production out of their bottom 6. But that's a whole topic for another day.
It's definitely a topic for another day. Is like every team's gonna have to make tweaks at the deadline. I think the East is, even though we kind of know what the 8 teams are going to be in the East, any of them can come out of the East, I think. So we'll see how that goes. But show me your best poll of the day. I mean, for me, it's those last 2 cards there. 2 of the last 3 cards I pulled there, the Columbus Blue Jackets A-Lines and the Jack Hughes Aimbots. That's an easy one for me.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I'm not even going through my cards because it's like whatever. So yeah, I'll concede a defeat to you, and we can go with Maury Daniels.
We're gonna go with Maury Daniels. That would probably be, because it's numbered. It might actually be over that Mark Rippon series there. So there we go. I'll take the win this week. Now it's time to get to the starting lineup figure 5 here. Let's see here. We got to get the music ready to rock. Today, because it's been football heavy, it's wild card weekend. We may as well just keep it with the football. And Jared's going to have 5 questions here, and he knows it's a football player. And with that,
Yeah.
he is not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
As this player won a Super Bowl.
No Super Bowls.
No Super Bowl, not in the Hall of Fame. The team that this player played for primarily in his career, is that team playing on Wild Card Weekend?
That's an excellent question, and yes, they are. 2 to go.
Is this player a quarterback?
Yes. All right, so you've hacked your way down.
Is this an NFC team?
Yes.
Okay. So
and this guy, so go ahead.
So quarterback from an NFC team that's playing this weekend. Not in the Hall of Fame, not a Super Bowl champion.
You would definitely know him from one team and then a second team. Probably forgot that he had a season with with his last two teams, but he's primarily known for one team and then a second.
Right. I have some leans for this. I think the way you frame that there, I think I know who it is. Is it Donovan McNabb?
Oh man, we are absolutely in the right church, wrong pew.
Damn it!
I give you. You can't open it, but I bet you can figure it out based if you get on that.
What, the Eagles? Was it Ronnie Cunningham?
It sure is.
Randall Cunningham. Excuse me.
Randall Cunningham. We've tried to get this guy out of the box so many times here. I love those Kelly Green Eagle jerseys. Just missed.
I'm going to need more than 5 questions if Randall Cunningham's going to ever get out of the box.
Apparently. Yeah, of course, we all remember him from the Eagles. Had a few years with the Vikings. Actually was a Pro Bowler, though, one of the years he was with the Vikings. And then, had 6 games with the Cowboys in 2000 and then 6 with the Ravens in 2001. But, yeah, we all know him as an Eagle and a Cowboy. Excuse me, an Eagle and a Viking.
Yep. Oh, well,
it's not how we want to kick off the new year, but hey, next week's another chance. We'll get somebody out of the box next week. Garrett will get off the schneid, but it's time to do the starting lineup figure 5 here. And I wanted to do, the games I'm most excited about this weekend, and we previewed them earlier on the show. You can always go back and listen to that. But there we go. We got today's AB's favorite wild card matchups over there. You got the Washington and Tampa on the left there with Brad Johnson and Warrick Dunn. Classic doubles there. That Warrick Dunn comes with a Mike Allstott. Of course it does. Then 2 receivers that are in the same exact position. Flipper Anderson from the 91 series on the Rams, and then Randy Moss from the 99 Vikings. Also, shout out Randy Moss. I know he's dealing with some liver issues there. I believe it was liver cancer. So hope he gets back and back on TV and starts feeling good soon, because I enjoy the hell out of him as an analyst.
Well said.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Had a great career. I mean, you've had a good career when you've been mossed. That becomes a verb, adverb, whatever it is. That's pretty good on top of everything else he did in his career. There we go. And then what do we got coming up this week here? What's the next Devils article you got there coming up on allaboutthejersey.com?
Yeah, I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do yet. So we'll probably figure that out sometime today. So stay tuned. It'll be out on Wednesday.
Were we happy with the teams, the quarter century teams, whatever it was?
I was happy with what I wrote. I don't think the quarter century teams actually come out yet for the Devils. I saw that they're slowly starting to come out for some of these other teams. I think Devils aren't for another week or so. So we shall see.
And then about a month away from the Four Nations face-off. Very excited about that. Also, shout out Team USA for taking home the World Junior Championships in overtime against Finland. Also, you got YouTube, Jared Moore Poker if you want. Great production values, but mid-content. That's where you're looking for the poker content right there.
No, the content is also great. It's just my level of play is mid.
There you go. That's the better way to phrase it. There you go. Jared's play mid, everything else top notch. And then we got another Total Hockey Now coming out this week. Will be Sans Anthony, as I believe we're he's expecting his first child today. So congrats and shout out to him, and good luck there. And take the time off. And Chris and I will be holding things down on Total Hockey Now. We'll be back on Thursday this week as well. So there we go. Been a fun one today, Jared.
I agree. It's been fun. And nice to have the week off last week and come back refreshed, and good to do a show this week.
Good to do a show, feeling fresh in 2025. Not great football cards, but great hockey cards and great wild card discussion. But well, that'll do it for this edition, episode 66 of Rip N Riff. But for at Mr. Jared Moore over there, I am at Pucking Thoughts Adam Bernard. Back with you next Monday with an all-new episode and divisional round preview for the NFL on our all-new episode of Rip N Riff.